Hello and welcome to this video on Python programming. So I remember that I have told that I will teach meta classes, but I will keep that on hold because meta classes is quite an advanced topic in the sense that you don't really need it most of the time. And if you don't know when you need it, there's no point of teaching that. So I will put a hold on that meta classes and I will go through standard library of the Python. So this is Python 3 documentation and we will cover this library reference here, all of it. Not really all of it, but we'll go through most useful of the libraries. So let's get started on that. You can read this yourself or you can even download this. Yeah. Okay. So the first function which we are going to go through is absolute value function, which is called ABS. So ABS will give the absolute value of a number. That is, if it is positive or negative, it does not matter, it will make it positive. And it will also give the absolute value of a float. For example, you can use a float. And if the argument is a complex number, then it will give the magnitude of the complex number. So that would be, if it is x plus 4j, then it would be 5, which is equal to square root of 3 square plus 4 square. And if it's an object like this, then the class of that object must implement underscore underscore abs underscore underscore function, and the return value of that function will be printed as absolute value. For example, we try running this section of code and see what is the output. So see 2 printed 2, 3 minus 3 printed 3, 3.5 was printed 3.5. Complex number 3 plus 4 will have a magnitude of 5, so that was printed 5. And again the same complex number is printed, which is also 5. And then this class absolute value returns an absolute value of 10, which is printed here. So it's a very simple function, and we will leave this here. So we move on to all function. So we have commented this out, and hang on, let me comment this out as well. So what all does is that if in an iterable all the sequences are true, then it will return true. But if any of them is false, then it will return false. Okay. So for example, we have L and we have M. In case of L, all are true. And in case of M, first element is false. So we try to run this, we get true and false. So the equivalent implementation of this would be this guy. So in this case, we supply iterable to function all, and we iterate for each element. And if we find an element which is not true, then we return false. And otherwise, at the end of loop, we return true. So that was the all function. Now we come to any function. Any function will, if you see the code here for the any function, then if any of the elements of the table is true, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. Now for first list, that is L, we have taken three values: 0, empty list and none. So all these three values are false, so it will print false. And for the second one, we have taken an empty string which is also false, but we have also taken one which is true, so this should print true for us. So you see it has printed false and true. An equivalent implementation is given here for any, which is this guy, which is this one. So now we move on to ASCII function. What ASCII function does is, if there is a string and if it is possible to print it in ASCII way, then it will print that. And for the Unicode characters, it will use the underscore underscore rep underscore underscore function and will try to print that, which was the original function to print the Unicodes. So those Unicode values will be printed with in three ways: backslash x or backslash u or backslash capital U. So it can use one of the three ways. So for example, this is A, so this will simply print A, and here the ASCII values will be printed, Unicode values will be printed for the second and third print statement. So you see, it prints XA for the trademark symbol, registered trademark, where A is the actual value, and then B5 and A. The X indicates that it is hexadecimal. So that's what ASCII does. So now we move on to bin. Bin prints the binary value of a number, of an integer. And for a class, it would be index function. This is wrong, index function. So for example, 2 will print 1 0, 0b 1 0, and 3 will print 0b 1 1. If you want to uh, format it without b, then you can use this function. Like here, we pass the number with argument single quotes b. In this case, 0b will not be printed. In the case of a class, if it implements an index function and returns a value, then that will be the bin of that. So for example, let me clear this. We run this again. Before doing that, we should comment this out. So you see, it prints 0b10 for this, 0b11 for this, and maybe we should print this also. So you see, it prints 0b1110 for first format and 1110 for the second format. And for the class, it implements an index function which returns 4, and the binary value of that is printed, which is 100. So now we move on to bool. So before talking about bool, I will recapitulate the values which are true and false. So constants, there are two constants which are false. One is none and another is false. 0 of all numeric types is also false. So 0 or 0.0, 0j, which is imaginary number, decimal 0 or a fraction with numerator 0 and denominator not equal to 0. Empty sequences and collections, all these are treated as false. So for example, if you print bool of 0, it will print false, and bool of 10 would print true. So if you see this, it prints false and true. Note that since range is open interval on left hand side but closed on right hand side, so if you supply a range like this, it is an empty list, so it will print false and false. Now we come to breakpoint, and breakpoint simply inserts a breakpoint in the running code and drops you to the Python debugger shell. So for example, in this case, we are iterating from 0 to 9 because 10 will be outside the range. 10 is open, so it will be 0 to 9. So if I is equal to 5, okay, if I is equal to 5, then we execute breakpoint and then we are printing y. So if you try to run this, it will print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it will get stuck at line number 78. Oh, sorry, it is printing from line number 78. That is, print I is line number 78. But now I is equal to 5, it has introduced a breakpoint. So if you print next, it will print 5. And if you type continue, it will continue and end the debugging after completely executing the range. So with this, I will close this video. I'll end this video. In the next video, we'll see more functions of standard library. And once we complete standard library, we will see more of syntax which were introduced at different points at different time in Python implementation and so on. So stay tuned for next video. And if you like this video and find it useful, then please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. If you have a comment or suggestion or you have a question, please use the comment box for that. Thanks a lot for watching. Enjoy.